This is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Very excited to have Michael back on the channel. Today he's going to showcase a custom Mercedes-Benz Sprinter camper van that has some awesome fabrication on the inside, and it even has basement air conditioning. So join us for the tour.
Hey Patrick, thanks for having me back on the channel to show you my 2021 Sprinter 174x4. As you can see, we've got the Falcon adjustable shocks from Van Compass 2.3. We've got running boards. Over here we have the Arctic turn windows with the integral shade and screen, double pane acrylic. Over here we have the outdoor shower or wash down, whatever you want to use it for. And back here we have our electrical system, water system. We have our shelves on the 500-pound slides. Over on this side here, we have our smart plug. If you're going to plug in for shore power, we have a 110-volt outlet right here. So we'll start here. As you can see, this is a custom fabricated aluminum shelf with tall sides. This way, if you're putting something in here, you can store it all the way out to the edge. You can store small things. You don't have to worry about them falling off the sides. While we're back here, I'll show you this. I work with a young fabricator who was able to put up with all my aggravation. And I had these boxes made. He put them on a computer, cut all these on a laser, and then bent them and welded them for me. So these are just two boxes that were installed on the van. And then on a bench inside the house, all these products that you see, all the Victron products, the 5,000 watt inverter, and all the other stuff is all rib nutted onto the back of this. Anything has to be changed, you just screw it off the rib nuts and put a new one back on. It's got 400 amp hours at 24 volts, which would be 800 if you had a 12 volt system. It's got an undermount air conditioning. There's your evaporator. There are the two ducts that go out into the bottom of the van back. If you look up here, there's custom stainless steel ductwork that pushes the air sideways and back towards the sleeping area. Over here, rather than go with the smaller 12 volt compressors, I got a porta-cable compressor and cut the tank off. My fabricator made me a bracket that screws right into the back over here. So anytime I want to air down for the beach, I can just bring it up quickly because it's a much larger compressor. Over here we have the wake speed, which controls the 24 volt second alternator to charge these batteries at about the equivalent of 300 amps. If it was 12 volts, it charges about 150 at 24 volts. Over here there's a solar charge controller that you can see isn't hooked up to anything, because with all this charging ability, I never ended up needing it. So it's there in case someday I wanted to use it or somebody else, wanted to have it, but there it is. I also had the Lynx distributor, all marine wiring, tinned copper, the Blue Sea breakers and controls and switches. If you look here, if anybody wanted to take this bed out to do any work, this is just one bent sheet so that you don't need to use any kind of aluminum beams or anything to hold it up. Anytime you put a bend in it like this, it gives you the strength. So it's vented, it's bent, it has the strength, and you can just take these three out, take the three custom-made cushions out, and you have this whole area open if you wanted to carry something in the back. So over here on the right, we have our 28-gallon water tank. We have our marine water fill here that you can be done with gravity. We have our water pump or accumulator, our isotemp water heater, and our Rixson system. So let me just fill you in a little bit about that Rixson system. Now that can be used with a standard heat exchanger if you wanted to make your hot water that way. But in that situation, you'd be forced to wait for the system to start up just to give you enough water maybe to wash your face in the morning. That's why I did it with the heat exchanger that's inside the water heater. So when that Rixson system starts up, it circulates through the heat exchanger in the water system. Or I can use this water heater with electric if I so choose to do it that way. I haven't had to do that yet. I have radiant heat in the floor. There are 8 radiant heat tubes that run back and forth along the whole width of the van here that run off that system. If the radiant heat can't keep up, if it's really cold outside, there's a heater core underneath the galley that I'll show you that a fan will turn on, and you'll have regular hot air heat off of that hot water there. So that system does the radiant heat in the floor, a second level of heat inside the van, and it makes the hot water, all running off the diesel fuel tank. I have these fabric panels, Patrick, that are all rib nutted into the van so that if you just want to take it out, you just loosen these screws when you move everything. All the panels are done that way. All you have to do is unscrew these and you can screw them right back in. You don't have to worry about self-tapping screws that are going to start to wear out because you used them too many times. So let me give you a quick overview of the inside. We have the shelves, factory swivel seats, the lagoon table, the cabinet, a chair to sit in once you're stopped somewhere. We have the isotherm refrigerator and a large freezer. We have the galley with a quartz top, stainless steel sink. I have the Acuva water filtration system and the slightly larger than queen size bed. We have the cabinets here for any of your clothing storage, and the bathroom with the stone veneer and the airhead composting toilet. So now that you have the lay of the land, I'll jump back up front and give you some more of the details. We have the mandatory pizza oven shelf here, covered with the matching fabric for the rest of the van. We have the hospital railing here for these curtains with the black outside. This way, if you pin these up like this, it's completely black in the back, and people from the front can't tell, hopefully, that you're in the van. Have the factory swivels with custom skirts that I had made for the bottom to cover up the bottoms of the seats. I also had these reupholstered at my upholsterer with Italian leather in the middle and on the outsides to give it a nicer look and have it match the van a little bit better. You see this stainless steel floor. These 2 plugs here come out, and I have a seat that snaps into place. What I did was I got some Nissan factory seats with brackets, installed them, and these seats snap in and snap out easily with a seat belt. So you can have a third passenger here. I have the lagoon table with a butcher block top. I had to shave this top down to get some of the weight off it, but it's still a bit heavy. So when there's 3 of us in the van, we can sit like this. This other seat would be in place and have lunch if we decide we're gonna, for whatever reason, it's raining or cold outside and we have to sit in the van. This cabinet opens up here. You take this seat off. You open up here, you have access for your storage, for blankets, pillows, and things like that. If you look down at the floor, I have a 1-piece lawn seal floor that's epoxied down over the radiant heat. You turn that radiant heat on, you feel like dancing on the floor with your tootsies bare. You don't freeze too much in the wintertime. So over here we have the cushions, so you can, if this seat's not here, you just want to hang out for the day. We have the window, the screens, the shades that come down. When you park at night, 1, 2, 3, you close these down, you close that across, and you're done. Have the roof lockers here with the removable backs. There's an electrical plug here so that you could put a toaster oven or something in here if you want to have your dinner. We have a mahogany ceiling with spray-in foam insulation above it. All the walls are sprayed in foam. If you know anything about spray-in foam, it's a bit complicated. You have to do it right, otherwise the van will blow up on you like a balloon. So it's quite a trick to get it right. Over here we have the stone veneer that's epoxied to the walls, which is the same thing we did here in the bathroom to match. You have a quartzite top. Typical galley space and storage. I have this for my silverware in the 2 pieces. We have 3 drawers here. Underneath here is where the Rixson system goes down into the floor. Behind here is a heater core, just like you'd have in your car. The hot air goes through. When it calls for heat, the fan turns on. If you look down over here, we have the drawer on the 500-pound glides that we could stand on to get up into the bed at night. There's some storage inside of it if you lift this wood up. Now, as you can see here, these are custom-made grills. These are your air returns for your system, for your air conditioning system, and for your heating system. This is where the heat would blow out, but it has to suck in from somewhere. So it sucks in from the back, thereby bringing your hot air back into your water area. You don't have to worry about anything freezing. I didn't have to winterize this van once last year. I can set this system on 35, and it'll turn on just at 35, just enough to keep the van so things don't freeze. Over here is the supply, 2 of the supplies for the air conditioning that blow it in direction of the front. And in the back here, I have the supplies to run it sideways and in the back towards the bed. Okay, so if you notice this bed, it's 3 pieces. You can remove them all easily. Underneath are the 3 pieces of aluminum that hold it up. And it gives you a tall area in the back if you need to transport something in your van. I hate to have something like a van and not be able to move a piece of furniture or something with it. I have the 2 roof lockers in the back on one side, which my wife makes me sleep under those so I could smash my head instead of hers. I have the 2 Arctic turn windows, the reading light, the USBs in the back. And coming over here, we have another. I have these here that are on Velcro, just in case you're going to put something there that's going to fall off. They just snap back on, or you can just not use them at all, depending on what you're going to put in here. Because of my experience, I put these controls behind the door. I've been sleeping so many times, and one of these things decided to update, and the lights start blinking on and off, and it'll just drive you completely nuts. So here's my Victron control system for my 5,000 watt inverter. This is also hooked up. I have a 4G chip in there. I can operate certain things from home. I can see what my system is at, what my state of charge is, how much water I have in it. I can use it I can hook it up to things and turn things on over the telephone, which is quite an advantage. Over here is the Rixson system. You set your water temperature, your furnace on, if you want your floor heat on, if you want your fan on, or if you just want to use the radiant heat floor. This is my Undermount air conditioning system. So I have nothing on the roof. The condenser and the compressor are underneath. The evaporator is in here. So it's operating in the shade, not up in the sun where it's 120 degrees up there. Here are the switches for the water pump and various things for these outlets, any electrical. What I did in this van to make it a lot easier, I have 2 transformers because it's a 24-volt system. There's 1 transformer behind here and 1 transformer on the other side. So I only have to have 1 wire cross over to this side of the van. And then all of my 12-volt stuff that's on this side of the van runs from this transformer. All the 12-volt stuff from that side of the van runs on that transformer. Because on my other van, you had multiple wires flying from one side to the other, and I thought it was like a big waste. Over here, you'll notice there's no shower control, which I guess could be a controversial thing, but if anybody ever tried it, they would realize this is the only way to go. You turn on the water, it takes about, I don't know, there you go. I've already got warm water because it's crossed over in one line. It's set at exactly 95 degrees, which is where I keep my shower at home, and I never have to touch it again. There's no adjusting the water Here's the light for the bathroom. There's no adjusting the water temperature as you go in the shower. You turn it on, it's 95 degrees until you're finished. Over here, I have the Nautilus shower door and a four-piece, this is a four-piece aluminum shower enclosure. The back is one piece, they're the two sides, they're riv nutted together, and the bottom is a stainless steel pan with a hole, of course, that goes into the 15-gallon tank underneath. What I did in this van, if you notice, is I built a platform for the toilet, because I noticed with my other van that when I used it and something spilled onto the floor, I had to remove the toilet in order to take the floor up and clean it. With this van, you can just leave the toilet there and you can remove the floor, wash it, and just put the floor back on without having to find somewhere to stick the toilet while you're trying to work in here. I have the isotherm refrigerator and large freezer. You could stay off grid for quite a while with enough food in this freezer and refrigerator. I have the microwave here. Over here is one of the compressors. This is a dual compressor refrigerator freezer. So there's a compressor for each one. You can run them separately. Over here is the timer if you decide you want to run your water heater off of electricity and you don't leave it on too long and drain your battery down. This is a three-way switch for the light over the bed. You can turn that on, turn this one off when you're ready to go to bed, then go in the back and turn the other one off. I have a 110 volt outlet over here in case you're doing something outside, if you want to cook something over here. Here's another return for the heating system, so it'll pull some air from here towards the cold air from the front and bring it back towards the heater. I have an outdoor drawer that you can open up, make a shelf out of. If you want to cook something like bacon or something nasty that you don't want to cook inside the van, you can set up your induction cooktop here and plug it in here.
Michael, thank you very much for taking the time today to give us a tour of your awesome creation. Now, this is your second van we featured on the channel. And just to review, just in case some of the people haven't seen that other tour, that was a 12-volt, 400-amp-hour, 3,000-watt inverter system with a rooftop air conditioning. And this one is quite different. Now you have a lot more battery, you have a bigger inverter, you got a different heating system on board. What made you build two vans? Is one to keep and one to sell?
I think insanity, Patrick, but yeah, I wanted to sell one of them, and now I've decided, you know, to be honest, I don't care which one I sell. I'm really happy with both of them. If I kept the older one, I would upgrade that one a little bit, or I would just take this one and probably add some more cabinets.
Yeah, so the other one actually had a bank of drawers right here, and it still had a seat, but with the seat in, you couldn't walk around. This one with the seat in, which, by the way, we have the seat. It's sitting right over there, but it is removable. And it's nice because not every single occasion that you jump into the van, it's a camping trip that you're going to go, you use it for like weekend trips with the family. So it's nice to have the seat, even though if you're not going to be sleeping in it, right?
Yeah, you need this. If I take my daughter with us, we need the seat. And we have no problem working around it. But a lot of times we don't bring her with us and we just leave the seat at home. So that's why you see most people have the seat over there and then they block off. They're never able to put anything over there because of the seat is over there. Here, we can manage to get in, no problem. We can work around the seat. We can tilt it up and walk behind it. And we don't waste all the other storage by having the seat over there.
And the dual alternators with the DC to DC chargers, you can charge that battery bank in a pretty reasonable time. You don't even need solar, right?
No, we haven't even come close to using half of the electricity, even when we use the air conditioning. If we're somewhere, let's say it's really hot and we're going to go into a restaurant, we'll turn the air conditioning on while we're in the restaurant. So when we come in the van, it's just not boiling in there. and we'll use maybe 20% of the battery.
I don't run my air conditioning all night on my Airstream van, but I run it for a couple hours to get it cool enough so I can maintain it with windows open and the fan on overnight. It's a lot quieter too that way.
Yeah.
Can we take a look at the underneath?
Well, this is much quieter with the undermount air conditioning than a rooftop unit, but it still does make noise. Yeah.
So it's under, oh, we got an air chuck back here. That's for that air compressor.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we looking at? There's the fans, and
there's the fans and the condenser down there, and above on the other side of that black box is your compressor. So everything that makes most of your noise is out here.
And it really doesn't hang down lower on the ground, so you don't have to worry about a ground clearance thing.
It's about 8 inches higher than the pumpkin for the rear end, so you're never going to have a problem with it. And it's operating in the shade rather than up in that, you know, top of the roof where it's probably 100 or 120 degrees in the sun.
And these cabinets are such a space saver. You think about other builders using dimensional lumber to kind of box in their backs. This really is, what, 1/8 inch thick, 1/4 inch thick?
This is 1/8 inch aluminum, powder coated. And you're able to build everything on a bench and then just slide it into place and do your final hookups.
And you took them off just for the showing today, but there's covers that go in here?
Yeah.
So it's just a black aluminum panel that slides back?
Right, that slides across
that way on your gear jostles around inside.
Yeah, you don't want it falling into your electrical system or breaking anything if it's heavy.
Well, awesome tour. I'll put links in the description for whatever one you eventually decide to sell so viewers could check it out. This is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Patrick.